All right, you're welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The conversation right now is about health, just like I said, and of course, security. You might be wondering how. I'll tell you right away. Um, Health sector, just like I said about education yesterday, is a very important sector, important part of any nation, and of course, it has to do with the well-being, prevention of things that might be inimical to our health and taking care of eventualities that happen. But then there's another story when people that are saddled with this responsibility, professionals, that take care of these issues, doctors, medical doctors, nurses, laboratory technicians, scientists, everybody in their sector, whenever they feel threatened, in the course of their duties, um, it's something to be worried about, just like any other human being as well. They are supposed to live in peace and, of course, in tranquility. For these people, medical doctors, in this case, resident doctors, are the ones, protesting right now, especially against the abduction of one of their own, Dr. Ganiat, who has been in the, captivity of the criminals, abductors, for several months, almost a year, 8 months or thereabout. And it seems they feel this is what they have to do to push for the release. By the way, and he started, they gave a warning. They are going to go on a strike, 7-day warning strike. And that is what we are seeing right now because the strike action started on Monday. I'm talking about the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors that have commenced a 7-day warning strike to push for the rescue of a Kaduna-based doctor, Dr. Ganiyat Bukola, who was kidnapped last December and has spent about 8 months in the abductor's den. The strike, which had across the country, are still holding, I presume, have left patients stranded at the doctors to shun works. But then Nigerians are saying, bad as it is, people should Nigerians, especially patients, family of patients in hospital that are lacking, that are being deprived of the service of the resident doctors, should they be the one to pay for this? Yes, but one of us in this is in the captivity. Nobody deserves to be abducted, especially as we have in Nigeria right now. But then, what do I know? Just like I always say, we have two of them in the house. And this morning, we have in the house with us Dr. John Ojo. Dr. Ojo is the president, Association of Resident Doctors in the University of Ocean Teaching Hospital, and he's here with us in the house. Good morning, doctor.
Yeah, good morning, presenter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. And again, in the house with us this morning, we have Dr. Ilori Olusegun, who happens to be the National Vice President, one of the National Association of Resident Doctors. He's here with us in the studios. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Very good. Let's get straight to the matter. Your association, you are both resident doctors, and you are holding office in different capacity. One of yours, sadly, has been abducted, is in captivity. It's a situation that nobody should experience. But then you have pushed, possibly won the government, you are going to go on strike, and you have issued a 7-day warning strike, and you have started since Monday. The question is, Nigerians are asking, and I said it earlier, is that justified? Are you justified to be going on that warning strike? 7-day warning strike, knowing fully well you provide an essential service.
Thank you very much, the presenter. And we want to appreciate the viewers at home.
Yeah.
Before I respond to what you're saying,
Yes,
what you have raised, I want to say that all over the country now, resident doctors are very sad. We are sad, we are troubled, we are discouraged. You see, in Yoruba land, they will say that ikú tó bá ń pa ojúgbà ẹni, òwe ló ń pa fún ni.
You might want to translate that.
Now, the translation to that is that whatever is killing your colleagues, your mates, is giving you a warning. Dr. Ganiat Olawale Popola was kidnapped in a residence inside hospital in Kaduna over 8 months now. We have been interfacing with all the necessary agencies that we're supposed to interface. This is a nursing mother, a wife, a daughter. I was thinking, I have thought over and over and over again that I think the crime that Dr. Ganiat committed is that she is a Nigerian. Several of us were thinking before that we have hope in the country. We have had several opportunities to travel out of the country. But we were like, someday, this country is going to be better again. But what do we have for it? Inside of the hospital, Kaduna is known to have the presence of the high and the mighty security agencies in Nigeria. Yet for well over 8 months, Dr. Rashidat, a woman who has been menstruating for over 8 years, 8 months now, no water to take care of herself. The menstruation of this month will meet the menstruation of another month. She was tied down. We have information that where they tied her down, the chain of the where she was chained, as you know, severed the skin to the tendon of the leg, such that every now and then she's been having fever. We cannot even tell of her condition now. So if anybody is saying that we are coming out to give a warning strike, this warning strike is not a sudden warning strike. We have written letters to the government agencies that they should look into this. If they don't, that we are going to go on strike. Nobody seems to be listening. Now that we are on strike, people are now pointing accusing fingers to the doctors. How justified is that? Some of us that are working now, do you know that we walk around the streets in the bid of wanting to provide healthcare services, even in the middle of the night? Some of us, they will call us to come to the hospital, to come and perform certain operations. How sure am I, if this can happen to Dr. Ganiat, how sure am I that by the time I leave my home and I face the hospital, that I'm not going to be kidnapped? Now, if I'm kidnapped, is this the same thing that is happening to Ganiat that will happen to me? Do you put yourself in my shoe?
Dr. Ilori, sad, by the way, very, very sad. And let me ask you, you say you have been writing letters to the people in authority and you are with the national body. What have you been told? What have they been saying?
That is the sad aspect of it. Don't worry, this is a sensitive matter.
Who have you been writing to?
We have met everybody. The National Security Advisor is in the know. Inspector General of Police is in the know.
This current one?
Yes. We have had meetings. The DSS. Federal, I can provide you with letters.
That's what I'm asking. So every time you write them, what have you been told? What have they been saying?
We are working on it. Wait. As I speak to you, the husband of Ganiat is depressed. Frank depression.
Actually, I'm coming to you. And there is this story that said, in fact, all of them were kidnapped. That the husband and the children, with a child or so, were kidnapped, and they later released the husband. I don't know how true is that, but let me come to you, Dr. Ojo. The ARD Union, I learned held, protest or something,
yes.
To show your displeasure with what is happening. Yeah, and the picture Dr. Ilori just painted is a very sad one. To be a woman, to go through natural processes in the abductor's captivity, and that's not the only thing, is very bad. But I'm asking you as well, it's as it is right now, as sad as it is, you have been speaking, Dr. Ilori said it, to people in power, and all you have been told is we are working on it. We are working on it. You have started your strike. But Nigerians are saying, is there any other way that this could be achieved without other people? Because you are trying to save by pushing, for Dr. Ilori, everybody, Dr. Ganiat, everybody involved to put their hands on deck and to have your colleague back. How about people that are being affected by the withdrawal of your service? Essential one.
Well, like you said, it's been over 8 months. 8 months of torment and torture. 8 months of agony. 8 months of depression for Dr. Ganiat. The nationwide warning strike didn't just start suddenly. It's a process. I remember during our July NEC, we initially gave 2 weeks ultimatum And we wrote the NSA, we wrote Federal Ministry of Health, we wrote MPF, the Inspector General of Police. And the more reason why this issue dragged up to this extent is because of their security advice that we should not escalate. They are on top of the game. We should not escalate because of the sensitivity of the matter. First month, second month, 6 months, we started acting when it was 7th month. The 7th month, there was initially 2 weeks, nothing was done. Another 2 weeks was given, and a directive was given by the national body that all centers, all federal and state teaching hospitals across the federation should carry placards. In fact, it was meant to be an outside thing, but because of the protest ongoing in the country at that time, we were advised to limit that protest within the hospital vicinity, hoping that we'll get something positive at the end of the day. What did we get? You guys should calm down. We are working on it. We're on top of the game. And this is a woman that has an husband. Our parents are still alive. Our patients are there in Kaduna, suffering. The children are there suffering. The whole medical community in the country, we are sad. So there is no other way. And this is just a warning strike. The national body will be meeting probably today to decide the next way forward. Our prayer when we wanted to start this strike is that we pray that they will release Dr. Ganiya on time so that everybody will go back to work. We have passion for this job. That's why we are here. So that's the problem.
Before Tomi, my colleague, comes in, the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, spoke on Thursday, that was yesterday, in Kaduna. He paid a visit to the National Eye Center where Dr. Ganiya worked. And he said negotiations are ongoing to ensure the safety of the kidnapped colleague, Dr. Ganiya Pupola. He said the federal government and security agencies were working hard to rescue her. And let me quote part of what he said. He said, we're on top of the matter, and I've been speaking on talking times. We have been on talking times, rather, with the NSA, as Nuri Rabado, regarding the issue. He said, I've spoken with the Commissioner of Police, and everyone is working hard to see that she is released. And he had held a meeting on Monday with your leadership, NARD, over the situation to convince them to call off the strike because it would worsen the situation. That's from the Minister of State. And he said, we don't believe this warning strike will do anything. All hands are on deck to secure her release. And he said, for the past 2 days, we know she's alive. And that's good news for us as the security are working hard to bring her back alive. I appeal to you to call off the strike and let's keep praying that she comes back home in peace. Dr. Ilori, you and the NARD, you don't believe that? You don't believe the Minister of State? He said they had meeting. I can see you shrugging.
Mr. Femi.
Yes.
I don't know what to believe again. Because, I don't know, since December, we have been having this same promise. Hold on. All hands are on deck. We are working on it. First month, second month, third month. There are things we cannot say.
This same narrative.
Yes. There are things that we cannot say on the media now because of the sensitivity attached to them. But all we are saying is that give us evidence of what you are doing. We politicians, and you know, in the bid of wanting to keep your job, you can say anything to temporarily allay the fears of the people that are agitating. What we need is evidence. Wait, are you saying that in Nigeria of this capacity, with the kind of the security agencies that we have, one person can be incarcerated, and yet for over 8 months, all we'll be hearing is promises. We are not saying truthfulness in that statement. What we see is that it does not concern these people directly. I was thinking at the time that if Ganiya were to be the daughter of a mighty person in Nigeria, or the wife of a mighty person in Nigeria, even a girlfriend to a mighty person in this country, she would have been out. I can bet it with you. So is it a crime to be an ordinary Nigerian? Is that what we are saying? Well, like you asked me to answer your question point blank, I don't know what to believe again. Right. Probably by the time Ghanaian is out, then in retrospect, we can now begin to see that, okay, we should have believed them.
All right, I would like to ask Dr. Ojo.
Okay.
I know the cause you're fighting for is for the release of Dr. Ghanaian. Yes, it's possible. We are hoping that she would be released soon.
Yeah.
But do you feel that just focusing on Dr. Ghanaian is the solution? Why can't you also face insecurity? Because if she's released today, that doesn't mean that there won't be reoccurrence. Why are you not looking at the way forward instead of just trying to just place your target on Dr. Ghanaian alone?
Thank you very much. This is not the first time a doctor will be kidnapped in the country. We've had a series of incidences where doctors have been kidnapped. Some were released. Recently, a doctor in Anambra was kidnapped and was released within 48 hours. Even medical students, the 19 medical students were kidnapped and released recently. Yeah, national body, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, is coming out with a policy because doctors are becoming an endangered species. And we're even worried. Day in, day out, if not a consultant, it will be a resident. If not in the north, it will be in the south. And it's becoming more worrisome. So now we are coming up with a policy going forward to tackle the insecurity. Once a doctor is kidnapped, what are the processes? We don't need to wait for 8-9 months and be dragging and be writing letters, waiting for a report or response from government. So once this policy is in place and it's being passed to the appropriate quarter to the federal government, I think this menace of kidnapping here and there will reduce.
All right, let's look at this from another angle, Dr. Ojo, Ilori, I beg your pardon. Yes, we've had cases of doctors traveling out of the country. A few months ago, it was more about poor remuneration. Do you feel that this case of insecurity towards doctors will cause another issue where doctors will try to look for greener pastures outside the country?
I was saying the other time that for me, I was not thinking of leaving the country. I believed in the project Nigeria.
So speaking past tense now.
Yes, I was one of the advocates of Nigeria will be better. But as I speak with you now, I've dusted my papers. I want to leave.
Because of this?
What I'm saying is that a doctor was kidnapped in the hospital. This is Osun State. This is Osogbo.
Our residence was in the hospital.
Within the hospital.
Within the quarters.
Yes.
And that's where she was too.
Yes.
Taken rather.
Shouldn't we also look at the security in that hospital? I feel that every hospital should also have protection. So I feel we should have security agents manning the area. So don't you feel that that should also be another angle you should look at?
Do you know that is part of what NEC of NARD sat down to think through? And we came up with policies that in every hospital, these are the things that must be in place. Security post, CCTV camera, secure arms carrying security men.
Are you saying you don't have any of
We
this?
don't have them. Have you been to that? I was there. That National Eye Care Center. I was there. From their main gate to the quarters. It's a very long distance, but there is nothing there.
And, Dr. Ilori, and, there are some things that I would like to speak to so that we don't expose other hospitals. But I will have mentioned some hospitals as something similar to what you are saying, but so that we don't get to expose, and this is actually true. But then that's why my colleague is asking, shouldn't you, apart from focusing on the government, shouldn't you be talking to the management of these hospitals to beef up securities in the hospitals so that these things don't get to even occur in the first place? And who should be responsible? Is it the Federal Ministry of Health or the hospital management? Every hospital has a management. What is the NARD doing about that?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Is out already. All the leadership of ARD, local ARDs, have that mandate. Meet with the management of your hospital and ensure that all the T's and the I's as regards our policies are crossed and dotted. Of course, some leaders are already achieving, like in my own center, somehow we're already having that.
Yeah.
You understand? But I still want to believe that a large number of hospitals are still, the security architectures there are still very porous.
You
will expect that if management of hospitals, and it's not only residents. Recently, we read that the HOD of radiology of a particular federal teaching hospital in Lokoja was kidnapped. It's not only about us. This thing we are fighting for, and that's why we need the Nigerian people to understand us.
They too are victims.
This fight,
the Nigerian people you are talking about,
anybody can be kidnapped. It's not only about us. It's not as if we're insensitive to the plight of our patients. We are not. We're hardworking people. Even as we are on strike now, you see several of them running after us. We shall not want your patient to die. But the thing is, officially, we're on strike. And no hospital should be seen working. It's a warning strike. You see, to now worsen the matter, federal government is now, the Ministry of Health is now coming out with a threat.
Very quickly, I was going to go to that. There is a report, and it's common to all the dailies we read today, the no work, no pay policy. And it is reported in one of the dailies that it is deeply regrettable that NARD has chosen to strike at this time, especially when the federal government has shown considerable goodwill in addressing their demands. We believe that continued dialogue remains the best path forward. And you think this is adding salt on the injury? But a policy is a policy, isn't it?
I was talking to the president of ARD, UTH Oshobo, just as we were coming. A lot of our members now don't even know what to do again.
How do you mean?
This is what I mean. Imagine you having a father who is not up and doing. A father, I don't want to put in quotes, who has failed in certain responsibility. And you have the children trying to call the attention of the father. They have not started doing anything wrong to the father. Just trying to get the attention of the father to look in the direction of that thing that he's doing that is not good. And all the father can do is just to go and get cane and start threatening those children. That I will cane you, keep short. I don't understand.
Doctor,
no work, no pay has already worsened this matter. In fact, let me tell you, most of our members are already saying that if this is going to be the sacrifice, they are ready. I think the government should rescind on this and look for better ways to dialogue with NARD.
This no work pay, no pay policy of the thing hasn't been officially communicated to the NARD.
They are just communicating it to us. And also, this is a warning strike. This is a warning strike. It's not a full-blown strike.
Yeah. Dr. Ojo, I see that immediately we brought up this topic, you side. I'm more like, I want to ask your opinion on that, because the federal government will say the health workers, though you perform essential duties, you are just like any other civil servant, so to speak, like the people in the education sector, the people in works, the people in water, all of these. And they said this policy is there for all of them, but they are bringing it now, and we are hearing that this is the policy. Maybe it's to tell you that, that particular place that I read said, we have been talking with you people, and the federal government has shown, according to that statement, considerable will, and you are still going ahead with these. So how about that for you? How do you see that? Do you feel spited or embarrassed with that?
It is quite embarrassing. We've shown a lot of understanding with federal government for the past 8 months. This is not the first time federal government will be coming up with no work, no pay policy. It was done for ASU. It was even done for NARD at the point in time. So if just because of 7 days warning strike, you want to implement the no work, no pay, in fact, on some platform, resident doctors have agreed that if the money they will deduct for that 1 week will be enough or can be added to whatever money they want to use to get Dr. Ghanaian to pull out, I think it's better. We are ready to pay that sacrifice.
From your end?
We are ready to pay that sacrifice.
Have you, the NARD or the ARD, have you established contact with the abductors? What are they saying? If it's something we can say on here.
It's not something we can disclose on here because of the sensitivity of the matter.
Okay.
So we will not be able to give more information about that. But the truth is that the negotiator is getting in touch with the abductors. And we are so sure that Dr. Ghanaian is still very much alive with her nephew.
That's what I want to confirm. Maybe actually confirm that she's alive.
She's still alive with her nephew.
But in a bad condition.
Very bad condition.
So where do we go from here?
We want to plead with, I know that this is a popular TV station.
Yeah.
I know that several people are watching now. And part of the reasons why we're here is to plead with the high and the mighty that are watching us to please help us. That we're on strike now is not, we're not happy about it. We want to go back to our duty post and take care of our patients. We have sworn an oath to that. So that we're, in fact, many of us are not even sitting at home. We sit in the hospital. That is the thing. We have been in the hospital. We expect that if we can leverage on the influences of the people that are watching us, they should please speak for us. That is where we think we can go from here. If that is done, we want, in fact, let me tell you, there were certain meetings that I was privileged, to attend recently, that some of us were even thinking of, is it possible for us to call off the strike today? That is to show that we have been showing understanding, but on the part of the federal government, they have not been showing that. We plead with people at home to please help us, talk to their people, so that they can help us, get Ghanaian out and also beef up securities in the different hospitals. That's what we think we can do.
All right. And, Dr. Joe, I'm sure you have stated your position and we empathize. I'm sure many Nigerians will empathize. Looking at the screen, there is somebody bubbly with life before that unfortunate accident happened. And you might want to wonder, is it possible that when she's released, you still see this kind of radiant face being the abductors then for 8 months? But Joe, still talking about your patient. I'm sure maybe if any of your patients in hospital now have your number, many of them have been calling you, your phone will keep buzzing. But with the position of the NARD, the ARD at the University Taking Hospital, when you walk across the street or you walk in the hospital and then you see them and then they look at you, how do you feel for them? People that are suffering right now, that are being devoid of your service. How do you explain that these are situations beyond your control? Because you have a duty to care for them as well, even as I know that you have a duty to care for yourself as well.
Thank you very much. Like you said,
what kind of position does that put you?
Your last statement, a part of our oath states that you must first take care of your own health before you're able to render a quality health service delivery to others. When the environment is not safe, when we are not secure at our place of work, it's difficult. And I'm very sure that our people, our patients will also understand. And as we speak, some facility are still working. The consultants, they're not on strike. It's just the residents.
But how many consultants do we have left?
The
That's the issue.
The consultants are working.
Asked about the brain drain situation the other time. How many of these people do we still have left?
So our patient will still appeal to them. It's a just fight. It's not our fault. It's beyond our capacity. It's beyond our control. Once we have these doctors out, everybody returns to work.
So in case, unfortunately, I mean, you know, we don't pray for that, but if actually you go ahead and you finish this 7-day warning strike, so what next? If actually Dr. Ganiya is not out?
Well,
let me ask the NARD VP.
Okay. We have thought of that. What
we hope she's back like now.
Yeah, in fact, there are a lot of possibilities that we have thought about.
Yeah.
This is just one of the things that we think we have to do rather than keeping quiet. Even if whatever, whatever the outcome, we have to do this. We who are this. What we will do is go back to the table. And we have our think tank, the neck of NARD. We're going to dialogue and discuss again to see how we can beat a path forward from here. So that's what we're going to do. We were not expecting that she wouldn't be released even after the 7 days warning strike. But we had it in our mind that peradventure she is not released, that this will necessitate another meeting of neck of NARD. And that is where we take the decision.
All right.
Like you said, you mentioned that we are just saying that just in case it doesn't happen. Do you feel that the family needs to be compensated, or do you feel there's anything the government needs to do to cushion the effect of whatever is happening right now?
And that is exactly what I was saying the other time. I don't know of any compensation that will be enough to take care of the trauma that family has gone through.
But we've also had cases of families who were compensated for losing a family or two, but we don't.
But I think that is delusional. No compensation will be enough. My sister, husband to a nursing mother,
5 children.
5 children, taken away suddenly when she was at a duty post. Now, you are saying you want to compensate. I don't know the kind of compensation that will be enough. Whatever is done is just done, just for the doing sake. I'm sorry to say this.
And it will now be even worse when she's still alive. The husband knows that she's alive. So what do you want to compensate for? The only compensation you can give to him is to ensure the release of the wife.
Release.
Quickly, Dr. Jasper Randolph, let's extend in 1 or 2 minutes the conversation beyond this abduction. Tomilola asked about the security situation, because we just hope not. The way we do, if and we hope Dr. Ganiya will be released, what happens after that? The nation is still the same. She has said, okay, why don't you look at the security architecture? And then it's not just about the doctors, it's about any other person in the country. But extending it now, Dr. Ojo, we've seen situations, I think it happened in Lasso, of a doctor who died with the escalator or the lift, some of the hazards that happen, which predisposes doctors, medical officers to leave in the country, just like Dr. Ilori said, maybe he's dusting his document. What exactly do you think stakeholders should do? If actually you have a sit down with the Minister of Health, either the Minister of Health or the Minister of State for Health, what will you be telling him?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. In 1 minute.
Yes, I agree. I will agree with you that the whole health sector needs complete overhauling. Not only about remuneration, not only about insecurity, the infrastructure is also very important. And that is what led to the death of the lady inside the elevator. So it's a complete, it's going to be an complete overhauling.
I said that because you always have one of your own.
Yes.
Doctors are always the one at the Ministry of Education. Ministry of Health. Either the substantive minister or the Minister for State. So why are you thinking they don't understand these things?
Well, I think you see the problem of...
Because I've never seen a nurse head Ministry of Health. It's always doctors like yourself. So how come we're having these every time?
Well, for example, the insecurity is a problem of the country. It's not only limited to the health workers. Every other sector are also affected.
Yeah, I'm speaking to the facility infrastructure.
But for the facility infrastructure is something government had to look into. Yes, there was a time during President Obasanjo, I think also during Buhari's regime, that they were picked a teaching hospital per region, and they equipped them. I think University of Maiduguri was picked in Northeast, UCH was picked here, but that is not enough. We have a lot of teaching hospitals across the country, and most of their infrastructure, their material equipment are dilapidated. And that is what led to the death of that young lady. So it needs a complete overhauling.
Thank you, Dr. Ilori Olusegun, Vice President, one of the National Association of Resident Doctors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we hope you can rejig your hope in the Nigerian project, by the way, and change your mind. Dr. John Ojo is the Association of Resident Doctors President, Uni Ocean Teaching Hospital here in Osogbo. Thank you for your take.
Thank you.
And I must say thank you double. And you know why? Because I had to pull you out. You're supposed to be resting after being under the weather. And this is part of what we do for our nation and for your. We hope the next time we're having the conversation, it will be about something different and your colleague will be out. Hopefully. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
very much. We take this break right now. When we return, we'll be speaking about the labor and, of course, what they are perceived as harassment. Is it harassment or is it just the rule of law? Stay with us.